Hey everybody, we got quite the topic today we can banter about. Just remember, when it's time to make your case, you only have 30 seconds before you get cut off. And so much like the guys we'll be talking about today, you've got to be witty and quick too. Today we're talking about the best trash talker ever. And Mike, you get the first crack.
Well, first I thought it was Michael Jordan, and I saw, all 10 episodes of The Last Dance. No, folks, it's not him. It's a guy I played with because I had to listen to him every day on flights. He challenged me on everything. It was a race. We had to have a discussion. Gary Payton, GP, the glove. This guy was debating me whether or not I should have Gatorade or water after practice. I said, it's none of your business. He said, I don't care. It is my business. He's arguing with everybody on the floor. The guy's a former defensive player of the year, a 9-time first team all defensive.
All right. Mike Cage got cut off, but Paris, you're up next. You make your case.
Cage, I don't know what you saw in The Last Dance, but when I saw that documentary, I saw best trash talker in NBA history, a guy who could back up every word that he said with some sometimes intimidating action. And one example, pointing to Dikembe Mutombo on the free throw line saying, "This one's for you," closed his eyes, made the shot. That's a really good trash talker. I'd be scared if he said that to me.
Chris?
All right, guys. Larry Legend, not just because he won 3 titles, but because he was a legend in trash talking, and he backed it up with endless stories. The reality is the gap between 1 and 2 here is really large, much like when he walked into the locker room at the three-point contest and said, "I'm just sizing up who's going to finish in second." I mean, these are classic stories, not to mention what he did to Michael's former teammate. Michael might have been there in Seattle. Xavier McDaniels says, "I'm going to catch the ball right here on the wing. I'm going to make this shot." And the last thing you're going to hear is it touching the bottom of the net. He did it endless times.
All right, Chris. Larry Legend had some great one-liners, but look, he and Michael, they were great. Don't get me wrong. But I got to say, Michael Cage, he had to stand there in the trenches. He had to hear this game in and game out. He knows what was going on. He had to deal with it every night. I got to go with the firsthand experience here. Michael, Gary Payton's a winner.
Thank you. You know what? Hey, Fish, and I'm glad you went back to black and white films and talked about Larry Bird. That's good stuff. Paris, I agree, Michael Jordan. Yes, he's up there. But when you hear Gary Payton, it wasn't like we had to find it out what Michael Jordan was talking about 20 years later. We found out what Gary was talking about during the game. He's arguing with people in the stands, everything. Hands down. Thank you, Mr. Gallo. I appreciate that because a lot of other people out here agree as well. GP, hands down.
It's about quality, not quantity. We all know Gary wouldn't stop. That doesn't mean he was a better trash talker.
Sometimes it's like that. It's like water torture, though. You know what I mean? If it's just constant and incessant, it's just going to drive you nuts. I mean, and, when we were talking about Jordan earlier, he might not have even had the best line of his own team. When Scottie Pippen said, "The mail doesn't get delivered on Sunday" to Karl Malone. I mean,
that was a good one.
Geez,
I think
that is a good one.
From what Jordan taught him.
That's got to be
all-time
best right there, Nick Gallo, in a trash talk right there. Just like you don't even say anything else. That's like really good stuff. And evidently it messed with Karl Malone because he missed both free throws.